friends just bought a motorhome from Algonquin. Small, and they went yesterday. Their daughter, their son and daughter, wanting 2 grandkids living in Chandler. So they're driving out. They're going to sell the house in Algonquin. They also basically big joy to his parents.
Need to talk to Mr. Schuster. Hey, Mark,
Parents.
Okay.
do you have your video on?
Oh, hold on.
Can you just turn it on for a second?
There you go. I got some. Is that good?
Not so far.
Oh, all right. Well, we'll just leave it off then.
Oh, wait, it might be coming on. There you are. Okay, it's on. You could turn it off if you don't want it on.
All right.
Oh, okay.
Hey there, long time no talk to you.
There he is.
Man, it's chilly.
It's another sighting.
It is. I'm like sick of night more. Not that I'm counting.
That's
I don't know. I still made plans to go to Alaska, neighbor, but I'm still kind of hoping to. So I'm gonna leave my coat out. I don't want to sweat.
I should have left my coat.
Yeah.
With a sweater on. It's kind of cold.
Hey, Tony.
Hey there.
Well, I have to say it was kind of fun watching the AT&T Pro-Am this weekend.
Oh, yeah. Yes, you're saying, oh, I'd make that shot. I can do that.
I did that a couple times. I told Linda, it's like, you see this, you're the tee off? What? That's where I teed off at.
Yeah, and see the guy down in the rocks? Yeah, I was down there.
No, my guy just goes, just aim right.
See that guy out in the water? Oh, that guy, just. It's a great golf course.
Well, I can't remember if I told you or not, Tony. I gotta go backwards now. 18, 17. Is it 15? Is that where you have like the long, like a narrow chute you go through each ravine? That the red tees there are ahead of that ravine now. I guess they used to be behind it.
Yeah.
And he goes, because we just did it for speed of play. They did it for speed of play because he goes, half the amateurs playing here are going into that ditch.
Yeah,
And he goes,
they can't clear it.
can't clear it.
No, there's I didn't recognize a lot of spyglass. They've changed that a lot since I played.
Oh, have they really?
Yeah, there's quite like 2 or 3 holes that I should look as when the hell is that hole? Because I even got out my scorecard.
Oh,
And that's what it is. No, that's a different hole.
okay.
Yeah.
It was pretty wide open.
Yeah,
And really, I mean, it's kind of a swing away.
but then when you get back in the trick, well, yeah, for when you're playing with forward tees, or when you're playing not playing from the pros tips.
No, the pros tip. There was.
They're back in,
Oh, there was, yeah.
they're hitting out of shoots.
There was one, is it 3 or 4? It literally is like a dog leg out of the chute where you have, the only shot is that you have to bring it around from the chute. And it's like this, and it's just.
Well,
It's-
that's the old shape. You gotta learn to shape your shot.
No, I know.
No, that's cool.
That was. Oh, I should put my package.
Well, with any luck, I'll be able to play when I go down to the DR and I'll let you know what Punta Cana is like.
Okay. Also, you swung a club at all?
Yeah.
Oh, thank you. Oh, did you get yours? Okay. Yeah, I feel like certain one that I'll go ahead and forward.
Okay.
I actually like that too. Which is not putting up my feet.
James is going to keep those POs home.
Oh.
So Eugene, what do you do? How many copies are on the POs? Is there 4 or 5 on there?
I don't think there's that many. I think there's only.
No more than 3.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So we were, okay. I think it used to be 5.
Nav sheet.
What do you do with all those copies? They're,
Well, one goes to permanent file, one goes. I'm not exactly certain where they all go.
that's what I say.
I know that one goes to file with the bills.
All I know is that for the last couple of years, it's just been so nice to keep track of what's going on, just have sure every single electronic copy, sign it, and that, I just wonder if that's.
Yeah, no, well, I get, it's not often I get to sit at the. I got a big table, so.
Yeah, isn't Kyle? Where's Kyle at?
Yeah, you can pay Kyle's.
Yeah.
I'll steal it.
Kyle, taking some time off on plowing. No, you bet. Why did you send you that stuff? Because I deleted your information out here. And I meant to tell you last time, I literally just got lazy last time. It's like so nice. I was like, I'm just gonna find my chair. Contacts. Yeah. Okay, let's try that again. I went home and found the video, but I went to do it and I just add yours. You've seen the video from the one-way version in New York?
Oh,
Yeah.
what's that?
So somebody got lost and crossed the wrong runway. And what's the wrong runway across the active runway, somebody who was already could take off. I'm sorry. And did you see that? The New York runway incursion where the guy went to the wrong runway, across the active runway from the airplane who was cleared to take off. The guy in the fourth. That was last month, last couple of weeks. Yeah. Did you see any of the recreations there or the tape? It's scary. They were apparently right before V1 where they got the canceled takeoff and they saw the guy come in front of us. So that was pretty exciting. It was pretty close. And you saw the latest one, did you not? Last night or 2 days ago? Did you see how close they got?
You know, that's really great topic for people that get ready to get on airplanes.
Oh, yeah, I forgot my head.
Talk about the ones that fell out of the sky. I was looking at the one that they had on the news tonight.
No, that was,
But the good news that, the good news is that they're mostly southwest.
what?
They're mostly southwest.
No, Southwest, we got the Delta, was it Delta then or?
That one was Delta and somebody else. Today there was FedEx and Southwest.
Yeah.
No.
So if you look at the, you know, it was Cat 3.
So that's the first thing.
And they awarded the Cat 3 at about 100 feet. And it looks like, I haven't seen the actual one yet, but it looks like it may, the guy in the runway is cleared to roll. So it looks like it may have been.
That's not.
Yeah, it was, that's
There.
complacency, is that what, I don't, no, sorry.
No.
Certainly, let's bring this to order.
Oh, yeah,
United States of America. One nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, please. Mr. Farina.
Here.
Mr. Dadley.
Here.
Mr. Harney.
Here.
Mr. Thorne.
Here.
Mr. Nimitz.
Here.
Okay, we have got 6 trustees in attendance this evening. We do have Mr. Schuster attending remotely. However, since Mr. Schuster does not vote, I will not require the clerk to call roll on each and every vote this evening. However, the governor has extended the gubernatorial proclamation for another 28 days, so we can have a remote session on the 21st of February if it should be needed. However, the 6th of March next month will be up in the area. Okay. Let's see, anything else? Not. Approval of the minutes of January 17, 2023.
So moved, Diatley.
Second, Thorne.
Moved by Diatley, seconded by Thorne. Are there any corrections or additions to the minutes? There being none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The motion so carries. Thank you all. Okay, the next item is the president's report, the gubernatorial proclamation. I've noted this before. I will also note, however, that the clerk has sent the governor's office a note instructing them that additions to our packets must be obtained by 2 p.m. on the Friday prior to our meetings. So in the future, if the governor wishes to issue his proclamation, he must have it to us prior to 2 o'clock on Fridays. Unless the clerk gives.
Or what?
It's up to the clerk. I'm just passing the message.
Just check.
Okay, the next message, the service club has made a request of the village. If you all recall in the past, when the service club redid the flagpole at Lake Sharon and Sabatino, they put in some paver bricks and they sold those bricks as a fundraiser to help install the new flagpole. Well, for the 65th, the 50th anniversary of the service club, they have decided to once again offer bricks, commemorative bricks for the flagpole area. And the issue with that is that they would like to use the village's taxing so that they do not have to pay the sales tax on the bricks. And in order to do this, the brick memorial company would like a deposit of 50%. So what the proposal is the village will go ahead and front that 50% to open the account so that the service club can take orders for the bricks. And then when they get their bricks and they've got their order, then they will make the village whole. Is that understood? Yeah, we've done this before. We do it basically with the mailing sometimes on the 4th of July type of stuff that we do. So, you know, I was wanting a consensus from the board. I'm seeing the heads going up and down. So I'm going to take that as the consensus and we will move forward. Eugene was here. He's got the word this evening, so we can move that. All right. That is it for the presidential report, the clerk's report.
The only thing I had to report tonight is that I've completed the list of those individuals presently required to file economic interest statements with the county. You will be receiving a notice at your personal email. This is an annual requirement. Please follow it accordingly. That is all.
Thank you, Tony. Planning and zoning committee report.
Good evening.
Oh, Ms. Detmer, yes.
Sorry, better late than never, I hope.
Sure, you came in right on time.
The Planning and Zoning Commission held the public hearing for the self-storage facility and will be continuing their discussion of that on the 27th of February. They continued the public hearing with regard to the properties north of 72 also until the 27th of February. And they will be holding their regular meeting next Monday. That's all. Thanks.
Okey doke. Wait, what was that about next Monday, Barb?
They'll be holding their normal meeting.
They will be.
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right, fair enough. Thank you all. The next attorney's report, Mr. Schuster.
Good evening. I have no report, Mr. President. I see some items that will be discussed later in the agenda, though.
Okay, thank you, Mark. Engineer report, Mr. Steele.
3 items to see in your packet. is, we had done a sort of preliminary idea for cost estimations and analysis, at least as far as what we'd like to add onto the street program this year. It'd be Locust Drive, some swale improvements, Timber Drive curb installation. On that is currently is the way that the road and drainage flows on that is it heads straight for residents' homes, and it is essentially currently either flowing directly into their lot, or the other improvement that is currently just temporary is it's been actually washing away the side of the road, and it's basically been causing maintenance issue for Kyle. He's had to go out there numerous times just in order to clean it up. Sleepy Hollow Road curb installation, and that is, this is all the way up at the northern end of Sleepy Hollow Road, just south of the highway office. Is if you look onto your left as you're going north, is you'll see that the side is actually being held up by a ladder. Currently is there's actually no drainage swales in that area, and the drainage swale that actually is supposed to be there is just because the amount of water coming off of 72 is it just constantly gets washed out, and Kyle's ended up having to clean it up. So the idea there is to actually put a curb in along there in order to actually stop it from washing out the ditch and basically having water for somewhere solid to go. And then the other is just various patching throughout the village. You'll see that the amount of funds available right now is around $140,000. We anticipate by the time we go out to bid, which is maybe in July-ish, is $200,000. However, just given the list of projects that we need to do or looking to do is around $281,000. That project, we could possibly reduce some of that down and look into Kyle possibly doing some of that work. However, Kyle is extremely busy, as you all know. And we can also look at as far as reducing down the amount of paving that we want to do on Locust. However, we do want to end up striking that because I know it's been a point of emphasis or safety in regards to that bike path along there. So we're just be basically reducing down some of that paving. So basically this just gives you an idea as far as what we're thinking of. Obviously, we have a little bit of time just to do some pencil pushing or find out if we can do it all. We've actually been talking with contractors, and costs for construction is actually going to be up about 10 to 20% this year from last year. So not good news, but happens all the time.
Okay, I don't see the 120 we allocated for roads in there for this year's budget.
I didn't know that that was the case.
And 5-year cap, if I recall, we had 120K.
Oh, okay. There we
That
go.
will bring you a little closer.
Good.
So then if anybody has any projects that they like that. Let me know.
Well, I would add South Sleepy Hollow Road. To
That the
list
ditch
of-
you talked about.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there's a section just north of Crane.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I know what you're
That
talking about.
it,
Yeah, Kyle has been wanting to get out there for the longest time, and he's just been having to clean it up constantly. And I just know it's every
Can
time.
we
he
put
wants to
that
get
on
out-
this road project, you know?
I noticed in your report, Jeff, you gave an overhead photo picture of each project,
Yeah,
and that, as a board member, that's appreciated.
yeah.
But we
Is-
can look
Did
at those,
the,
yeah.
did the markups actually show up on there?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, so, thank you for doing that.
Any questions or guys know?
Yeah. Any other questions or thoughts or concerns about the ongoing project? Otherwise, the next step is start putting this together for bids.
Yep. Like I said, yeah, I want to get out sooner rather than later this year, just because obviously we don't want what happened last year and then go on strike.
I don't like waiting until Thanksgiving to see the roads paved.
Neither do I. It gets cold out there watching them.
It does. It's dark in the morning, it's dark in the evening. Okay, nothing for Jeff. Thank
Well,
you, Jeff.
say, next up is Comcast has submitted 2 permit applications. You'll see the first is cable replacement behind the residences of 906 and 908 Saratoga Parkway, and the second is behind 1702 K Court. Basically, it's just Comcast replacing deteriorated wires. So that we will need approval.
Now when we move, I'll go ahead to move to approve Comcast permits, the numbers, Tony. JB 1338278 and JB 1355603.
Second, Brian.
Moved by Nick, seconded by Arnie to approve the Comcast permit request JB 1338.278 and JB 1355.603. Any further comments, questions, or discussion? There being none, all in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, so carries. Thank you all. Jeff, anything else?
Just that we're moving along, well, at least as far as that water main project. We're getting to a point where we're gonna actually have to figure out, there's been talk of basically kind of splitting it up into 2 projects. One is using village funds, and then the second is utilizing EPA funds. So I'm gonna have to need to know exactly how much we're gonna have available for doing the first half of the village funds. So just keep that kind of in the back of your mind.
All right. All right, thank you, Jeff. Okay, next item is Director of Finance, Mr. Van.
Request a motion for the approval of the accounts payable in the amount of $134,834.75.
So moved.
Second, Brian.
Moved by Thorne, seconded by Moreno to approve the accounts payable of February 6, 2023, in the amount of $134,834.75. Any additions, deletions, comments, or questions? There being none, roll call, please.
Mr. Nimitz,
Aye.
Mr. Moreno,
Aye.
Mr. Thorne.
Aye.
Mr. Dattley,
Aye.
Mr. Harney.
Aye. 5 affirmative votes, no negative votes, the motion so passes.
Second item I have is that in part of our 5-year cap is we were supposed to buy a new copier for administration this year. We had budgeted $9,000. We had gone out and gotten a quote and it was about $8,000. And then I read our agreement with West Dundee. And according to the agreement, anything we get technology wise has to go through West Dundee. So they were in the process of replacing their copiers. And so they did an RFP for 6 copiers, 4 for them, 1 for East Dundee Fire, and then 1 for us. And they got a package price of $31,830. So it would come out to be $5,300 per copier. So that'd be a little bit of savings. However, they want to lease and not buy outright. And then this would be a lease to own. And they had the options of a 48-month or a 60-month, and that's what they're kind of giving us. I'm pushing to allow us to just buy it outright. In the past, accounting wise, they would go with the lease because then you wouldn't have to do the depreciation and stuff like that. You know, with recent gas fee changes, you have to account it for it the same way, whether you lease or buy. So there's, you know, no advantage to leasing. Leasing would actually cost us somewhere between $900 and $1,500 more than if we just bought it outright. So the 48-month lease would be $130 a month, and the 60-month lease would be $109 a month. So we need a decision on if we can't buy it outright, which lease do you guys want to go with? The 48-month would be about $900 more than the outright purchase, and the 60-month would be about the $1,500 more.
What is West Dundee doing, just so they all match up?
They haven't said, they gave us the option of whichever one we wanted to do. There is a per image cost. Right now, our copier is just black and white. And I got the number we have used since November of 2014. We use 448,651 copies. So it basically as black and white, it comes out to be $350 a year. The new copiers will have a color option at a significantly higher price. So if we had all those copies in color, it'd be $2,300 a year.
We
So
turn off the color.
that's what my suggestion would be, is that we would just have a limited number of people who would have a code to use the color. We're doing about 5,200 copies a month.
I would say with the, I mean, I won't be around, but I would say go with the longer one. It seems like, how old is this copier?
Well, we're gonna own it at the end of whichever one we.
That's,
do.
I mean, so yeah.
Like
Oh,
I
okay.
said, it'd be cheaper to do it with the 40.
Yeah, okay, then, okay,
Because we'd be saving $21 a month.
might as well.
Yeah,
Suggestions of 48-month lease versus buying it outright.
yeah, but if we can't buy it outright, the 48 months.
Yeah.
Yeah,
My other question is, what are all those copies doing? Is there any way you can, you throttle that back a little bit? It's like a lot of copies.
We had to kind of back some with these.
well, exactly. You have to remember that we just got the computers last year.
Oh, okay. True.
You know, we just got the computers last year, and before that, then all these packets were done manually.
That's sure we calculated out one time. It was
Yeah.
like $1,000 a year is what we figured.
2014.
What?
Yeah,
He just went back to
Oh, okay.
2014.
yeah. We got the copier in at the end of October in 2014. So
It's got 400,000 copies on it now.
yeah, and it's still running good. I'm thinking that it pretty much is worthless because the companies won't take them back or anything like that. I'll probably put it on Gov Deals and see what we can get
Yeah.
for it.
I love Gov Deals. Talk for it. Okay, motion to Eugene, let him know that we prefer him to be able to buy the copier. If that is not available, that option is not offered to us, then we will take the 48-month lease with option to buy.
So move, just wait a second.
So moved.
Second,
Moved by Arnie, seconded by Nimick to move with the buying of the copier if possible, if not 48-month lease. Any further comments, questions, or discussion? There being none, it's a monetary issue, sorry, roll call.
No apologies necessary. Mr. Bruno.
Aye.
Mr. Dattley.
Aye.
Mr. Harney.
Aye.
Mr. Nimitz.
aye.
Mr. Thorne.
Five affirmative votes and no negative votes, and motion so carries. Thank you all.
This one's just a point of information, in discussion with the acting finance chair. We've had, about 300,000 sitting in BMO Harris for a long time. And we were earning a whole 1% interest. We have money in Illinois funds that they change the rate daily, and it's earning right now about 4.4% interest. So, the suggestion was move the money out of BMO, close that account, and move it to Illinois funds where we're actually gonna make some money. So I did that today, and I estimate if at the current rates, we will be making $660 a month more than we're currently getting just by that move.
Wow, thank you.
So that's all I have.
Okay, all right, thank you. No questions for Eugene. Thank you, Eugene. Any comments from the public this evening?
I know I signed up.
You did?
Excuse me.
That's good too.
I know there's a number of golfers in this room, and I wanted to make you aware that
Service Club is setting up a fundraiser at Bonnie Dundee. Unfortunately, Randall only had one date available in early spring and the weather is too iffy. We don't want to advance. So the golf outing will be on Friday, August 11th at Bonnie Dundee. We're still working on the details, so I'll get you those once I can find out. And 65th anniversary dinner at Blue Root. We worked out the details on that. With the entertainment, it comes to $65 per person. And that's on April 29th. And that's all I have.
Okay, all right, thank you, Rich. Okay, moving on into the trustee reports, roads and parks, Mr. Harney.
At the last meeting, I reported that Eugene had found a way to possibly get some money from our old 17 Park playground equipment. The first bid we got was $1. With 2 days left, it was a little over $3,700, and unfortunately, the bidding has closed, and I'll just we're not going to be bidding that $3,700. But I'll let Eugene explain.
Well, it surprised me, but we got $8,000 for the park. For the park equipment.
Wow.
And the guy is going to come here and get it and put it in his backyard. Yes. Yes, he's from Iowa. He's a contractor. He's got a lot of property. And with his fees, it costs him close to $10,000 because you have to pay sales tax and then gov deals fees and stuff like that. So it's costing him 10 grand, but it's going in his backyard for his kids.
Well, I'm glad she has a good home rather than going to scrap.
Yeah.
Yeah, fantastic.
So I was in contact with him last week. He wanted to come and pick it up, but the weather changed, and so now we're just kind of waiting for things to just slow down a little bit when we come get it.
Will he send us pictures of its new home?
I'm sure he
We
will.
don't want to see it. Take it and go away.
I just want to see the pictures of money.
Yeah.
And by the way, this was Eugene's project from start to finish. He deserves all the thanks for that. Another item, a few days ago, I met with Joe Cavallero, representing West Dundee. West Dundee is proposing that we finish the biking trail that's off Bonkoski Road. Now, this is by the Fair Hills. Okay, off of Bonkoski to the north side, the northeast corner of Bonkoski. That bike trail runs all the way to the property of Sleepy Hollow. Sleepy Hollow's border, but it doesn't connect to pavement, it just dead ends there. So he's asking the village if we could complete that bike path. He said at our expense. So we thought we would look into that. Discussions have just begun, and when we get some updates, I'll pass them along. I think it's maybe a little too early to discuss anything right now. This just happened, but I just wanted to let the board know that that's in the works. That's all I have to report.
All right, thank you, Ed. Finance, I guess that's Eugene and I. We don't have anything else to do. Water and sewer, Mr. Nemec.
Yes, so.
Get stuff in for the budget, so we can get working on that.
Okay,
But I haven't gotten anything from anybody.
Sam and that guy that's supposed to be up on the screen, Killinger.
Yeah,
Yeah, I've done as much of the budget as I can at this point, and I'm stuck. I need other input.
And we've got a finance committee meeting scheduled for
The 20th.
Monday, the 20th,
No, it's at 9 to 11
9 to 11
on the 20th,
on the 20th. That's Friday, the 20th.
Monday.
Monday, the 20th. Okay. All right, now we got the finance squared away, Joe.
okay, my turn.
Your turn.
Sorry.
So, no, that's fine. So, we go in the background a little before I make my motion. So there, I got a call from the resident at 1815 Elm Court because she had multiple questions about her water and sewer bill. It's the house that's on Hillcrest, actually, corner of Hillcrest, or no, Willow and Elm that had the fire in July. So it's a very unique area there. There's a mixture of homes that are in sewer and water. There are metered sewer homes. There are homes that are just water. So she was first questioning why all the neighbors' bills are different. But she is currently on a flat rate sewer. And she is within 100 feet of the water main, so she pays a hydrant fee, which is the demand fee. So she had asked what she could do. Apparently she came in July to try and reduce all her bills because the house is gonna be uninhabitable to August. I talked to Eugene, we figured out that the usage part of their sewer flat rate bill, which is billed at about
5.7.
5.7. So basically, if there's no way to meter their sewer, we're assuming they're using 5.7 thousand gallons per month. And we charge them at that, plus the demand charge of the sewer, which is 1560. So I told her to bring to the board tonight to give her a credit. And I did initially, Eugene numbers did July through December, since we're already through January. July through January's refund, or I shouldn't say refund, it's not a credit on her sewer bill would be 349. So I'll make a motion that we credit the sewer account for 1815 Elm Court $349.31 for the usage part of her sewer bill from mid-July through January. She also understands that we won't do this again and that we will Kyle will be in contact to install a water meter on her well so that the actual usage will be what she'll be billed for in the future. So I need a second on that.
Second.
Okay, moved by Nimitz, seconded by Thorne to authorize or to approve the $349.31
Right.
credit to 1815 Elm due to fire damage and the house being uninhabited for a number of months.
Right, it's make it clear that's the usage part of the sewer flat rate sewer only, so just sort of comes up in the future if somebody else is out of their house, we're not crediting any of the hydrant charge, which is a flat, any of the standard demand charges are not crediting, just the usage, yeah. And actually they'll all go away in 2 years of the new sewer agreement anyway, there'll be more flat rates, so.
Well, that was all part of that agreement.
Right,
Get
so
rid of
these are all going away, so.
Places, this will just be one of the first ones to go. So, yeah, we can't let them pass on that because we're getting charged that amount each month.
Right, we're actually charging double that, so yeah, roughly double, so.
Okay. All right, any other comments or questions concerning this credit to 1815 Elm? If not, because it's financial, roll call please.
Mr. Brown.
Aye.
Mr. Dattley.
Aye.
Mr. Harney.
Aye.
Mr. Thorne.
Aye.
Mr. Nimitz.
All right,
Five
so
affirmative
Gene,
votes,
just gonna take care of that.
no negative votes, motion so carries.
That is all.
Thank you, Joe. Police and public safety, Mr. Diatley.
Yes, thank you. Several things in your packet that Chief is giving you. I'll let you read those for yourself. No need to repeating them. We did have a police officer that has resigned. We received a better offer and a closer commute to home. So we do wish Officer Garcia well and his future things. With that being coming about, I would like to make a motion that we authorize Chief Parma to offer a full-time position to Officer Brown at a starting salary of $53,189.
We have a second?
Second,
Moved by Diatley, seconded by Nemick to authorize the promotion of part-time officer Brown to the full-time position at the salary so quoted by Mr. Diatley. So you guys can say as, I can do the same thing. Okay, any other comments, questions, or discussion?
I'd just like to say, I think we're doing much better on our retention of officers. This is the first one we've had leave in 13 months. Which is much better than it was when I first started on the board. We were losing people left and right. So I commend the chief for all the things he's doing to engage our officers in the community and in all the different things he has them doing. So I think it helps us keep them intact here and keep them with us. So I appreciate that work.
And how long has Officer Brown been on the force?
About a year, a little over a year now. But she's worked, actually she worked for me in South Barrington. So I know her well, she'll be a really good fit for our organization.
Thank you.
Okay, no further questions? Okay, since it's once again dealing with finances, roll call, please.
Mr. Prano.
Aye.
Mr. Nimitz.
Aye.
Mr. Thorne.
Aye.
Mr. Hardy.
Aye.
Mr. Davin.
Aye.
Five affirmative votes, no negative votes, the motion so carries. Thank you all. Chief, you got full time.
The only other thing I would bring up is at the next meeting, I may have Officer Glenn Edwards out. We're gonna be doing a blood drive. Talk about being engaged with the community. We're sponsoring a blood drive, so he'll have some information on that hopefully we can sign up everybody on the board to go donate some blood. And then,
That's if we got it.
yeah, right, if we have any blood left. And then the other thing is, in part of the bills this month, you'll see a $23,410 charge. That charge was we had to pay for our video cameras. We will be reimbursed $23,397. So I was off by $3 on the grant when I wrote it, so it'll cost us $3 for the video cameras, basically. Sorry, I don't. My hands out for that.
I'm sure somebody's got $3 worth of blood.
Are they installed now, Chief?
They're installed. We're working out some of the technological issues as expected with them, but they're working the recording. It's just a matter of getting the download, the correctly download, and then also the officers being able to log on in the car. We can log on in the station, but for some reason it won't let us log on individually to the cars. So those are just tech issues that I've done this for a while and it happens every time. So usually takes a couple of weeks.
How many cars have them?
3. I didn't put them in the oldest car that's going to eventually be replaced whenever Ford decides to make squad cars again. I didn't want to pay to have it installed, taken out, and then reinstalled.
Did you have a proposed time frame for when the blood drive would actually be?
August, or I'm sorry,
Summer sometime.
no, it actually is going to be sooner. I believe it's February 24th. I believe it's the date. Just right before
So before the new trustees are installed?
oh, absolutely.
Okay, nothing else? All right. Thank you, Steve. Thank you, Chief. Building and environment, Mr. Thorne.
No report, Mr. President.
Mark. Building and zoning, Mr. Moreno.
No report unless Ms. Detmer has anything to add.
No, sir.
All right, well, thank you all. All right, that finishes the trustee reports. We'll move into old business. Is there any old business to come before the board? Being no old business to come before the board, there's a couple of items on the new business for our discussion this evening. Number 1 is parking ordinance revision. This has been an ongoing issue off and on for a while. And I believe Mr. Fleck has made his feelings known throughout the board as to the situation with parking ordinances. And there are some ordinances or a proposal from the chief on redoing some of the ordinances in your packet this evening for conversation. Now, basically, if you look at our ordinances today, it's a mix mash of you can do this and you can't do that. And you can have so many days on this end of it, so many days on that end, and it can only be so long or so big, and it can only be here for so many days in certain parts of the year. In essence, what is before you is to make it all plain and simple. No trucks, no trailers, no parking in the city, period. No RVs, no boats, no trailers. If you've got a boat and a trailer, 48 hours to bring it in, load it, and disappear. 48 hours, bring it back, unload it, and disappear. No more leaving them in the village from April through October. No more of this putting them behind screening. This is eliminating all of them. Basically making it a yes or no.
So no grandfather. Is that what I'm hearing? Okay.
This would be no grandfathering. Don't care how long you've owned the boat or the trailer or the RV. What the idea behind this is that they will not be permitted. And that will be it.
I know that since I've been on the board, I've had conversations with Mr. Fleck, and this has always been an issue of how do you determine the length of the trailer or the boat, or does the trailer have snowmobiles inside it? Then it becomes that, does the plow being left off the truck sitting on the driveway is allowed but not allowed if it's on the truck? So I think that, and I had a brief conversation with the chief this morning just to go over a couple of the things. One of the things this still allows is someone who has a construction business, for this lack of a better term, or a truck that has a designated plate D or lower, still allowed to park on their driveway as their vehicle. It's the plates that are D and higher, and then a weight of 12,000 pounds that would not be allowed. So this really kind of tightens up and cleans up the code enforcement portion of our code enforcer's job in the village. At the same time, this has to go into an ordinance to be enforced as a village, as opposed to being just under a police or a police authority structure. So this is a suggestion that ultimately would then get written into the code, and I think it, as the mayor said, it eliminates all future confusion and issues and things that we deal with all the time. Barb, did you have any additional comments on that?
This would be very much supported by the Planning and Zoning Commission, because in that section of the zoning code that discusses parking, they had wanted that basically eliminated. So this type of verbiage would be a welcome addition.
Okay.
The only thing I will say is traditionally, if you look at our new village summary that's still on the website, we used to restrict to class or B plate or lower, which is 8,000 pounds. Correct. And all the surrounding villages around us are all that. Talking to Mr. Steele earlier, our ordinances for driveway thickness are rated at about 8,000 pounds. So that seems to be the standard. I believe that this came about if we used to just have a plate or a B plate or less. And when Chief Linane had revised the restrictions and the Sleepy Hollow Road and some other things, he said you couldn't have that restriction. It couldn't be just based on a D plate, because not all states have D plates that put a weight in there. For some reason, we increased it 12,000 pounds, and I'd like to see at least the zoning board consider it, taking it back to 8,000 pounds. That would also, as I was looking at this, it would make it more consistent, because right now you could have a 12,000 pound panel truck in your driveway, but a resident decided to go out and buy a Class B van life type RV, would be, if I read this correctly, would not be illegal. That's only about 8,000 pounds. So correct. So yeah, so at least it'd make it more consistent throughout, because you'd be telling one resident they have this panel truck in the driveway, and you can tell somebody else that they can't have a van, that they can, a Class B RV van in their driveway. So it'd be consistent that way. But as I said, I think that's for discussion for the planning board. Unless
Not a problem. We'll gladly include that. Okay.
say again.
I said we'll gladly include that. The 8,000 is.
Gladly included.
Yeah, so as I said, that's what it used to be, and it was kind of, I shouldn't say, I think it was, we were told as a board, I think zoning was told that that's what Class D plate or B plates was 12,000 pounds, and that's just how it got written in the code. But as I said, looking around, I looked at West Dundee, Algonquin, everywhere around us, it's pretty consistent of 8,000 pounds for parking either on streets or in driveways. So
Very good. We'll include that. Thank you.
Any other comments in regards to the parking ordinance? Changes that have been suggested?
So what is the process of this now?
If I recall the process, Mr. Schuster, this needs to go to P and Z for review.
It would, be. Well, as I understand it, the suggestion is to add provisions to the police regulations governing parking and to take them out of the zoning code.
Yeah.
So that would be an amendment to the zoning regulations that would have to be subjected to a public hearing before the Planning and Zoning Commission.
Do they need a motion from us to send it to planning and zoning, or are they?
Well, I think a direction to me to finalize the petition for signature and a draft ordinance, and then depending on what else Ms. Desmer has scheduled with the Planning and Zoning Commission, we'll figure out a public hearing date and publish notice of that and get it rolling.
I'm hoping to have the entire zoning code ready by June.
June.
Am I to assume we're considering doing all this to lead us to stricter enforcement?
It will make enforcement easier and to maintain, yes. That was part of the whole thing. So, Mr. Fleck can be told there's a boat in that driveway, but he can't tell if it's 20 foot or 22. And that gets us into a problem. And yeah, so this will make it a lot easier. It's about, it is. It's just, yeah.
Also, how long was it there?
Right,
Like,
that-
when did
we're not
the
gonna-
they start, when did it end? Things like that.
And the same thing is that somebody gave a trailer to drive, and I believe we allow horse trailers, right? So they could literally say, that's my horse trailer, even though it's pretty clear that it's not, but it's going to a judge, and otherwise some of the stuff becomes unenforceable. You can't make them open up and say, show me your horse, things like that. There's a lot of stuff that's unenforceable in court of law in our current ordinances.
So we're arming him to make it more enforceable, and I assume.
I wouldn't say more enforceable, I would say enforceable.
Yeah.
Enforceable, yeah.
Okay. All right.
And I also think too, that, and again, this is just wording, I didn't write this, I kind of stole it from various places and put it together and just sent it out, but it's clear for the residents as well. You know, and when you have a lot of gray area like we had in our old ordinance, the one that's currently in place, there's just too many places in there for anybody to try and manipulate how it's being interpreted, which is what was frustrating Jeff Fleck.
Okay.
Okay, would you like to send this to P and Z for their review and revision?
Need just consensus or a motion?
I'd like a motion.
I will make that motion then.
We have a
I'll
second.
second.
Moved by Nemick, seconded by Morano to send the revision to parking ordinances to the P and Z for their review and recommendations. Any further comments, questions, or discussion? There being none, all in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? So carries. Okay, the next item, snowmobile ordinances.
So I asked to put this on. Steve may remember, I think we're the only two people that are around. We had an incident with a snowmobile, two snowmobiles in Sabatino Park. 2 police chiefs ago. There were some pretty significant injuries. The chief at that time had looked at our code and realized there were some things in there that did not meet state law. And as he had said, it had not been updated since the early 80s for the most part. He had recommended that we not allow snowmobiling in Sabatino Park and operate in the village because the snowmobiles of the 80s and 70s are not the snowmobiles of now. And between the parks and people having their dogs out there and cross-country skiing, he just thought it was just a dangerous mix. But he had recommended that we let things settle down for a while because he didn't worry about any liability if we changed the ordinances shortly after the injury accident. So I was just we had a meeting the other day with the chief and I brought that up and he kind of agreed. So I said I would put this together and put it to the board just for that discussion. So
we want to discuss, or do you want to make a motion that we remove snowmobile usage within the village of Sleepy Hollows Park District?
I would go to whatever the chief recommended. Do we just remove? Do we have to, if we remove that from our code, does it then become illegal to operate them or do we need to change the code as such?
I would think that all we would need to do is change the code. Actually, if I'm not mistaken, Mark, we'd have to prohibit it in the parks.
So I guess I'd have to make a motion to have Attorney Schuster prepare a motion for an ordinance to prohibit snowmobiling in Sabatino Park and the village.
It's already, it's
Okay.
already prohibited by
It-
state law
it-
throughout the rest of the village, but this was specific to.
To Sabatino Park. That's my motion.
I'll second.
Moved by Nemec, seconded by Thorne to authorize the village or the village attorney to remove the allowed use of snowmobiles within Sabatino Park within the village of Sleepy Hollow.
And I guess it by to prohibit it, then you said.
Yeah, I believe so. Is that true?
So you got that, Mark? Mark?
Yes, I'm sorry, I couldn't unmute. Yes, I do, and I'll review it with the chief. We'll put something together for your next meeting.
Okay. All right, let's see, on the snowmobile removal ordinance. Removal of the snowmobile ordinance. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? So carries. Thank you all. Any other new business to come before the board?
Motion to adjourn.
Second, yeah.
Moved and seconded, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? All right, we'll see you on the 21st of February.
No.
20th is a holiday, unless you belong to the 20th. Voted 2 years ago.
Yeah.
Once. Yeah. Okay.
Right.